Welcome to Season 4 of AIHA's podcast series, The Healthier Workplaces Show, where we explore timely and informative topics about occupational and environmental health and safety to help you improve your workplace. I'm your host, Alejandro Castillo, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with AIHA Past President Dina Siegel and AIHA CEO Larry Sloan. Dina has more than 30 years' experience in comprehensive industrial hygiene practice, ranging from management to fieldwork. She has worked for the Departments of the Army and Energy and Los Alamos National Laboratory, from which she recently retired and currently serves as a guest scientist. She has served on the AIHA Board of Directors since 2016, holding the roles of Director at Large, Secretary, Vice President, President-elect, and President. She will complete her role as AIHA Past President this May. She is a CIH and an AIHA Registered Specialist in the Registry of Exposure Decision Analysis. Larry Sloan has served as CEO of the American Industrial Hygiene Association, in other words, AIHA, since October 2016. Prior to this, he served as CEO for two chemical trade associations. Larry began his career as a chemical engineer at Air Products and later worked for Nalco Chemical Company in marketing, manufacturing, and sales capacities. Larry earned a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from the University of Pennsylvania and later graduated from Northwestern University Kellogg Graduate School of Management, where he earned his MBA. For more than 20 years, Larry has been an active member of the American Society of Association Executives. In 2006, he earned his Certified Association Executive credential. And in 2021, he was appointed a fellow. He is an AIHA Registered Specialist in the Registry of Exposure Decision Analysis. AIHA recently launched a new strategic plan that will guide the association for the years 2025 through 2027. Dina and Larry led the process for the creation of this plan, and we're excited to follow up with them on how this plan will shape the future of our profession. Dina, Larry, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Alejandro.
Great to be here.
Great. Let's get started then. The work to create AIHA's new strategic plan began in early 2024. Dina, please share with us the process involved in such an important undertaking.
I'm happy to do that, Alejandro. So this actually dates back to July of 2023, when our board in its strategic meeting made several suggestions for the new strategic plan. And these were actually the starting point for the 25-27 strategic plan. Then we did an open call for a strategic task force, and that was launched. We had some great candidates. We selected candidates that represented the greatest diversity of thought. Then staff established a SharePoint page for us so everybody could have centrally located relevant information. We also used an outside consultant, AMC Consulting, to facilitate the process. So the next step was the consultant interviewed each member of the task force individually, where each shared perceptions, challenges, and opportunities. The goal of that was to identify any themes, trends, and opportunities that we could incorporate into the new strategic plan. A critical piece of those interviews was what each one thought was success for AIHA. So the task force meetings began with a discussion of AIHA core values, which in the end did not change significantly from the previous strategic plan. To me, that meant our core values were the right values for us. We also incorporated DEI concepts into the process. Next, we had an in-depth discussion of mission and vision. And in the end, our current mission statement, with some slight clarifications to add communities, as well as the vision statement, were pretty much retained since they continued to reflect our core values. So I know, Larry, you might go into this, but I'm going to have a chance to say what our mission and vision is, because that's just how we start. So the mission is empowering professionals to protect all workers and their communities from occupational and environmental hazards through the application of scientific knowledge. Our vision is a world where all workers and their communities are healthy and safe. I just love how we landed on that. Let's see. And so the 23-25 domains resonated with some clarifications, and we did add in the process an inward-facing operational excellence domain for the staff. So all of the suggestions and the domains and the strategic objectives were addressed. We created a draft plan. AIHA staff, because they're going to do the heavy lifting on this, reviewed and suggested changes, and those were resolved with the task force. And so those tactics and strategies, which I'm sure Larry will talk about in a bit, are associated with each one of the objectives under the domains, and they're created and managed by AIHA staff. So then we shared the draft objectives and strategies with the board in July of 2024, and we gathered more suggestions from the board. A subset of the task force finalized the draft plan, and we submitted it to the board for approval. The board approved, and the strategic plan is now posted on the AIHA website under the About AIHA tab.
Yeah, and I'd like to add, Dina, great job describing the overall flow of things. The company that we use, the AMC Group, we have used for the last 2 strategic planning iterations, and we also use them for the planning of the Product Stewardship Society. So they're very familiar with AIHA. They understand our programs, our services, and it was a really easy lift of taking the current plan and evolving it into the 25 to 27 new strategic plan based on the knowledge that they had from the prior planning process.
I am very excited to talk more about the strategic plan. Larry, tell us more about the plan structure and how the plan will guide the association's work over the next 3 years.
So as Dina mentioned, after we got through the exercise of reviewing and making some minor changes to our core values, our mission and vision pretty much remained unchanged. We did take some time to adjust the wording on our domains. And as Dina noted, we have 4 externally facing domains that are aimed at the membership or at the publics that we serve. And then we have a 5th domain, which they suggested we add, which is internally facing upon staff. So the 5th domain has to do with things like how we manage the finances in terms of the process of putting our books together each year and the reporting out of our finances to the staff and the board throughout the calendar year, and our computer systems and how we invest in professional development for our employees. So those are the elements that fall under the continuous improvement domain number 5. But as we decided on the wording of each of those 5 domains, the first step that AMC led us through was to define, what does success look like? So we crafted a success statement that lives at the top of the plan that basically summarizes, over the next 3 years, what do we expect to accomplish at a very high level under each of these domain areas. And after we finished wordsmithing those success statements, then we started working on those strategic objective statements that fall under each of those 5 domains. The strategic objective statements, which number 3 per domain, are defining what it is that we plan to do over the next 3 years. And then the last step, as Dina noted, are the strategy statements. And the strategy statements support the objective statements. And the strategy statements define how we're going to accomplish those objectives. And what I really like about this plan versus the current one is that there is a defined number of strategies that is not overly excessive. And so, for example, for each strategic objective, we don't have more than 2 or 3 strategies that support each of the objective statements. One of the things that's important to note about a strategic plan that a lot of people may not realize is that the strat plan is not supposed to be everything in the kitchen sink. It's supposed to be your priorities for the next 3 years. And so there are a lot of projects and programs that an organization might undertake that are not specifically referenced in your strategic plan. That's okay. That's part of your business plan. The strategic plan is more about the higher level priorities that are going to guide the thinking of the board over the next 3 years. And so I love this new plan because it's a little more succinct and it's a little more targeted and it's a little more directed at those key strategies that we want to pursue.
Okay, Dina, so the plan has comprised the 5 major domain areas. Can you talk to me more about them?
Yeah, I want to tell you kind of the story behind each one of these domains, because I think it makes it more passionate for me and more understanding for our members and our staff. So the first one is pursuit of knowledge. And that's where we develop and disseminate cutting edge educational and career enrichment resources to support OEH professionals. So Our members are OEH professionals, and one of the main reasons for AIHA existence. So our excellence in our learning products and our career resources speak directly to this critical audience. And our educational programs, so our webinars, AIHA University, AIHA Connect, and more, are managed by the very competent professionals on our staff, partnering with members that contribute their expertise. So to me, it's a match made in heaven. So the next one is advancing the profession. That's where AIHA will identify, develop, improve, and promote excellence in OEHS practices, research, and applied science. So this domain speaks to the heart of our profession. It includes our 4 Advancing the OEH Science initiatives, our interest in standards, our development of AIHA OELs as part of the AIHA Guideline Foundation, advancing competency in specialty areas, and building OEHS capacity in global regions with identified needs. The third one is member and volunteer engagement, and this is where AIHA will nurture and empower the OEHS community through strategic growth, enhanced member value, and fulfilling volunteer opportunities. So this is one that our members pay very close attention to. The third one is member and volunteer engagement. This is where AIHA will nurture and empower the OEH community through strategic growth, enhanced member values, and fulfilling volunteer opportunities. We have an incredible staff, and staff works with our members and our volunteers in partnership to help us all attract, grow, and retain a diverse and inclusive OEHS community. Our goal really includes understanding things like overcoming barriers to engagement, expanding opportunities for non-members, and creating a path to membership for those non-members. The fourth domain is impact and awareness. This is where AIHA will promote the practice of OEHS. It's a simple statement, but it is loaded with critical elements, growing our pipeline of OEH professionals on multiple fronts, working with policymakers and allied organizations to advance policies that protect workers and communities, and increasing the value and impact of our profession with our policies and services within the United States and around the world. The fifth one is organizational excellence, and I am going to let Larry address this one as the inward-facing domain.
Thanks, Dina. So I love this fifth domain because it really is focused on my team. And the success statement for this domain is that AIHA will maintain organizational excellence by living our staff core values and operating ethically, efficiently, responsibly, and inclusively. And as a side note, the AIHA board has their own core values that we recently updated, and staff has its own core values, as you know, Alejandro. And so they're similar in nature, but a little bit different. The objectives underneath this domain include, number one, on the financial side of things, maintaining strong financial performance and internal controls so that we continue to realize what we call a clean audit every year. Number two has to do with professional development of my team, attracting, nurturing, and investing in the professional development of top quality staff who are aligned with our organizational culture, the core values. The third objective is investing in IT systems that create and sustain a positive member support experience. So for example, Catalyst, our online community, the database, how you renew your registration, how you sign up for AIHA Connect. We want to make sure that the experience is seamless and easy to follow through. That's embodied in that number three objective.
That sounds very exciting, Larry. What additional work will be done by the AIHA board or staff team as year one of the plan gets underway this year?
So in February of 2025, the board will meet, and the first thing that we do at the top of the year is to update our board key performance indicators, or KPIs. So now that we have a new strategic plan, my team will be developing a new list of board KPIs and presenting them to the board at the February meeting. Now, this past year, we streamlined the process a little bit, And we agreed that we didn't need dozens and dozens of KPIs. Instead, we settled on about 15 of them. And so I'm envisioning we'll probably have anywhere from 12 to 15 quantitative KPIs that will govern how well we're doing against the plan in 2025. But then there'll also be qualitative updates that we'll be reporting out to the board over the course of the year that demonstrate progress against the many facets of the strategic plan. But the one thing that I want to mention, as Dina knows, is that this is a living document. As a matter of fact, between the time that the plan was approved last August and today, we've actually made 2 minor adjustments to the plan, which we then notified the board as to the reasons why. The plan is something that the board reviews really at every single meeting, and staff is also going to be taking upon themselves to define the tactics, if you will, the granular activities that then support those strategy statements for the year 2025. And that's an exercise, Alejandra, that will lead the staff through in the beginning of the new year, is to look at what activities each department is going to focus on that is going to actually help us achieve success right out of the gate in the first year of this 3-year plan.
I'm looking forward to it. That sounds very exciting. Dina, as an active volunteer with decades of service in the profession and to AIHA, please share your thoughts on the role of volunteers to the success of this plan and how can OEHS professionals get involved?
One of my favorite subjects, Alejandro, so happy to talk about it. So I've told you before, we have an incredible staff, but they cannot carry it out without our volunteers, our volunteer groups, our presenters of PDCs, creator of webinars, our mentoring program, and so much more. We have superstars of OEHS who, even after decades of work, as you said, still volunteer with passion and expertise. We have mid-career professionals that are firmly rooted in the practice of OEHS and provide a valuable perspective that influences those of us with decades in the profession, as well as our early career professionals and students. Speaking of those, we do have early career professionals and students that will carry on the vision of a world where all workers in their communities are healthy and safe. I am so pleased and so comforted by the fact that we have incredible people coming up that pipeline. As Larry mentioned, the plan is evergreen and it is only for 3 years. But given that last 3 years where technology has exploded, AI, wearable sensors, instrumentation, that may be an eternity. So success means our volunteers embrace this plan, add to it, refine it, update it, and integrate it into all of their AIHA activities. And finally, it's so easy to get involved. Join a volunteer group that speaks to your passion, that has a subject you want to learn more about, or can contribute expertise or experience. Help us grow the OEHS professionals all the way from primary schools to college and beyond, including those who are coming to the OEHS profession after other careers. Planning for the next strategic plan will be on us before we know it, so keep looking to a future where all workers are healthy and safe.
That was great. To all our listeners listening right now, let's say one of them would want to volunteer right now. What would you tell them?
I would tell them this is an amazing process for you and for AIHA. You will get incredible growth out of this. You will learn, you will be able to help workers, help communities. It's just the profession that people can feel really, really proud of being in. So that's what I'd say. And the second thing I would say is start small. If it looks really intimidating, believe me, the AIHA president to me was intimidating when I first started out. Start with something small. Join a group, listen in, volunteer on a micro volunteer aspect. It's easy to get started.
How about you, Larry?
Yeah, I would add to that definitely micro volunteering is a great way to kind of dip your toe in the water. And with respect to the plan, one of the great things that I think we did with the current plan is that we socialized it across our volunteer group community. And we'll be doing the same thing with the new plan, helping our members understand where they dial into the plan. So for example, all of our volunteer groups, our technical committees and working groups and our business operations and professional development committees, special interest groups, that all falls under one of those domains, the member and volunteer engagement. And so helping the membership understand the role that they play and where it fits into the plan helps them feel like they're a part of the grand, bigger picture. If you are working on a body of knowledge, a structural framework document, or you are a peer reviewer for a publication, for example, or you're a speaker at AIHA Connect, then you're going to be dialing into the first domain that Dina mentioned. So depending upon how and where you volunteer, you are supporting the plan. And the other thing that I'll mention is that AIHA is a very complex but very interesting organization. It's not just an individual membership organization of 8,500 individuals. We have the 3 LLCs, the lab accreditation program, proficiency testing, the registries, and we have 2 foundations, the Guideline Foundation and the Education Foundation, and we have the local section network, and we have an allied association called the Product Stewardship Society. All of these business units are reflected somewhere in the strategic plan. And that's the beauty of the simplicity of the plan. It doesn't get into the weeds in terms of everything that we do as an organization, but it does reference the key elements of our enterprise and identifies and earmarks those specific strategies where we want to make progress against those entities.
Absolutely. And if anyone is interested in volunteering, there will be a link in the description below if you're interested. Perfect. Now I want to throw a little bit of a curveball. We mentioned a few success statements prior from the domains. I wanted to ask you both, do you have a favorite success statement each?
What do you think, Dina?
Well,
It's a curveball.
This profession is data driven, so I really like it when I see things like advancing the profession, where we identify, develop, improve, and promote excellence in OAH practices, research, and applied science. There has been just amazing progress, especially with our For Advancing the OAHS Science initiatives, which is near and dear to my heart. We get to do statistics, we get to do calculations. It's the scientist part that is really the core of this profession. So I might be a data nerd, but I would say that's my favorite. I have a close second in the member and volunteer engagement because I love sharing. I love bringing people into the profession. I mentor one student, one early career professional at this time. And so I'm going to give that one a close second.
For me, I like E, which is organizational excellence, because that's investing in our team, Alejandro. But among the 4 external facing domains, I like the impact and awareness domain, where we say the success statement is that AIHA will promote the practice of OEHS. And I think I like that one the most because I am a marketing professional by my background training. And even though I'm a practicing chemical engineer for many years ago, I am very, very up and a proponent of how we communicate the value, the criticality of the profession to the business community. And there's been so many studies that have been published over the years that investment in OEHS not only helps to improve the health and safety of your most important asset, which is the worker, it improves your bottom line, your productivity, and it enhances your brand recognition and your reputation. So how we promote the practice in simple terms to the various publics that we serve is very, very near and dear to my heart. So I like that one the most of the 4 external facing domains.
That's great. Dina, Larry, as we approach the end of this episode, is there anything you would like to share about the plan?
Well, I think we've talked a lot about it, and I think you could get us to talk on for hours about this, Alejandro. But I just want to say that I was honored to be part of the team that created the latest strategic plan. And Larry, I want to thank you for your leadership and support of the board suggestions and the task force suggestions. And finally, my thanks goes to the staff who have embraced this and have become much more aligned and coordinated with us we're a team. It's not the board and staff. It is one team, and I'm really appreciative of that.
And I will add to that and say that the process in which we came to the plan that the board approved in August was completely transparent. You know, we had a lot of great open conversation with the task force. We then brought the ideas back to a subset of my senior leadership team. I then engaged my entire senior leadership team in providing input on the output from the task force. And then we further refined the various elements of the plan over the course of the summer. And it really wasn't until we got to August that we came up with a product where we felt comfortable with the final wording on the objective statements and the strategy statements, because there were a lot of really great ideas, right, that bubbled up from the task force. But I remember Dina and I having conversations saying, well, some of these are really granular. They're almost more tactics and they're not strategies. And so it was a real iterative process with my leadership team here on staff, with the board, going back to the task force to come up with that final product that I think we should all be very proud of. So I've been now through 3 strategic planning cycles with AIHA, and each one keeps getting better and better.
Dina, Larry, thank you both for joining us today and sharing valuable insights about what is to come in 2025 and beyond. To learn more about AIHA's 2025 to 2027 strategic plan, visit the AIHA website and follow us on social media. That wraps up today's episode of the AIHA Healthier Workplaces show. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, remember, healthier workplaces means a healthier world. Until next time.